Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our sixth live seminar. I appreciate you guys being here. I saw a couple people in the waiting room, so just to allow more time for people to jump in, I know I started a couple minutes early. We'll just let the chat roll for a little bit. Any questions or anything that wants to be brought up, feel free to type in the chat right there. And then also, just to mention it right off the bat, anyone that's watching right now, yanSafe update has been pushed today live. The announcement has gone out, so stay tuned to that. Go read into it. There's some questions that have come up in the general chat. You know, some if update's not working within your yanSafe, you can simply just exit off and go download directly from the website, but it should work from internal. But anyways, just for you guys to be aware, yanSafe update was pushed today. So if you have any problems, go into our Discord for support or the email system for support. But definitely check it out. Those updates that we talked about in the previous streams to look out for. You can now see why we brought those up, just to keep you guys in tune with our current developments, and then eventually those updates do get pushed. So again, if anyone in chat wants to have any of their questions or concerns brought up, feel free. Any questions about the update, etc. That's why we're here. And also, just to be clear, on my message on these streams, I will be, consistently being available for these, especially if more hot topics continue to be brought up, and we see the need to be here in these chats to discuss things with you guys directly. I'm always down for that. But obviously, in the event that maybe a lot of the questions are already being answered and it's repetitive and people don't feel the need to ask questions anymore, if the chat's dried up with that, that's fine, perfectly fine. We'll all not waste anyone's time there, have anyone look at a dead static stream, and I'll get back to work on the other things that we're doing. So that's kind of what I just wanted to mention on that. I will be available, but just based on how the chat goes, and if we have tons of questions, that's what will drive the length of the streams and also how many days consecutively, etc., that we're doing them. But we'll keep track of it. We're at number 6 now. So I'm going to keep track. They're all going to be posted on my channel. Obviously, the most beneficial streams, the ones that probably have more information in them versus the ones that may only last 15 minutes. Those ones will be transcripted and put over onto our main channel on YouTube as well, just so that they can be accessed either on my channel for review or on the main channel. So you'll have different sources there if you wanted to share the links or whatever. I mean, that's your call. But just to be clear on that, not canceling these by any means, but just based on volume of need. No, and that's not something that we've considered facing to claim for PAC. It's not really in the same wheelhouse of what we are dedicating our resources towards to building the network for. So my answer to that would be no. I mean, to further elaborate on that, I mean, the reason why is because first of all, us as a company, we do not endorse PAC Protocol as a payment transaction method network. So that's not even something that we even dabble with, because then it starts to feel like that's what we're not pushing PAC Protocol network for it to be a payment transaction network. Obviously, in blockchain has use for that. But again, that's obviously not what we push. I think that's been pretty standardized over the last year and a half of like what we bring to this network, what we advocate PAC protocols network usage for. So how are things with WPAC? They're good. We mentioned on this last stream as well. It all goes hand in hand with the update being pushed for the token layer to be implemented for PAC protocol. So when that is fully done and that update is offered to the node owners to update, and consensus is reached, then obviously the network will be at a point where we know what network needs to be utilized for the wrap. And again, it's just us timing stuff and releasing stuff at the same time. We have to be internally organized, otherwise we're doing things ahead of schedule. That we didn't really schedule WPAC. That was something that was addition to our roadmap. So we're excited for it, obviously, like it's something that we're advocating for, but when it gets to that point of us announcing it, at this point, I've given all the updates I can for WPAC. It's currently in the works right now. We have developers specifically tasked for that. And then also, like I said, it has to do with the timing of the release for the YAN token layer update for PAC protocol. PAC's growth forecast for the next couple of years. In my opinion, I have no reason to doubt any negative growth or I shouldn't negative growth. I shouldn't doubt growth is going to stop because if you just look at the past years, regardless, I don't use metrics, uses price per metric. That's not what I use for growth. I use the network statistics, meaning transactions that are occurring on the network. We just passed, I believe, 100,000 transfers that have occurred on the PACapp, which is pretty cool because the PACapp, it's one of our newest products. I mean, considering it hasn't been that long. So those are really cool metrics to see the usage of products. And then also just the growth of masternodes on the network compared to the overall supply. It's still, 75%, 80%, I believe, something like that, of the amount of coins that are locked away in masternodes. And regardless of that total and that percentage, the number of masternodes is growing. So the network has gone on a consistent rate. First string we mentioned, January to December of 2021, we grew from 12,000 nodes roughly to 21,000 nodes. So that's a humongous growth rate there. And I have no reason to believe that's going to stop because over the history of PAC, it has consistently grown and the network has continued to show that. Yeah, actually, let me go in, let me pull in there is an update, sorry. And I said I would do this, so I'm forgetting to reread the question. So I remember someone asked me to do that, so sorry about that. The question was, and I see yours, Matt, but I read this one first, so I'm going to do this one. I know we have a new dev currently working on the new website / roadmap, but is there any kind of update to its completion? So that was a question. Yes, there is. I have to go into our dev server really quick to remember what was last said on that. Just give me one sec. So basically what we were doing when we hired our new developer to focus on the dev, just to give the background of what happens first when you task someone new on something new that they weren't previously working on. They have an experimental an exploration phase. I can't speak today. Sorry guys. Exploration phase where we have to discuss like what kind of topics and what things that we want to feature on the website. What's the target audience, especially like search words for your website to be pulled up, all that stuff. So that was the initial, first couple of weeks, getting that introduced and then coming up with our design that we want to keep it in line with the design of our applications and products that we push, but our marketing tactics as well. Just make it all, symmetrical. So that I believe their time frame that we were, planning on doing was obviously like not something rushed, but before the end of Q1. But again, that's why I mentioned in these streams, like I'm not going to be giving specific dates because there's just too many things going on at once, and we have to keep organized in how we announce stuff. But the update I can give for the website, I'm trying to like find the exact chat room that I was in, and it's like I'm clicking the wrong one, I guess. But the last thing that I remember that we discussed, it was earlier today, we were just discussing about the topic of our target audience, making sure that we have those search words related to what we're targeting, and then having that design made up. So this was been done over months in the past of someone else leading the design, transferring it over to someone new, just because we need the first person available, to be working on something else now that's more prioritized. And that has to do with the product that we're building for you guys right now that is known as yanDNA. So I think it's understandable why we might have to move that specific person. But as far as website, it is coming. There's a lot of documents and stuff that we want to revamp, our partnership list, et cetera. I know there's been questions on certain things on that. And it's just all correlated. So website is coming. I'm hoping before the end of Q1, but we'll see. Out of curiosity, if an approved DAO prop required dev effort, out of curiosity, if an approved DAO prop required dev effort to PAC core, would the LOC be accepting / reviewing PRs to core repo, or would the LOC be in charge of any implementations? I'm trying to understand what you're asking, Matt. If an approved DAO prop required dev effort, are you repeating this, like repeating the known issue that we've already talked about, that the prop system is functional but it doesn't trigger out, so that we have to push an update to the network that we have to work and do, and then push to the network to accept? Is that what you're asking? Like, I'm trying to understand, like, accepting reviewing the PRs because the code is open source, like it's completely reviewable. So I'm having a hard time understanding your question there. The account that pushes the updates for PAC protocol, it's our account, it's our organizational account. So obviously everything that gets officially pushed out of that account is coming from us as a business. We can't control whether or not people want to install updates or agree to the consensus needed for the network to be accepting of an update. But that's, I mean, there's not going to be any like input into what we officially, you know, as a out the door kind of push for an update. We're going to be the only ones that have the last say on what our company pushes as an organization. We obviously take input, and we also have the availability for people to give input via GitHub, et cetera, but nothing's going to be directly inputted into code or pushed through anyone else for review except our company, our organization, for the final review and the final, you know, make sure that it's what we want to represent as a company. But again, all the code's open source, so anyone has that availability to go research into what's running PAC protocol. In the event that any proposal was to be neglected and not paid out, I mean, just like in the past, there's been proposals that have been submitted by community members. They've been approved. The network worked perfectly fine on that. And that was prior to us changing over to proof of stake, deterministic masternodes, et cetera. So all these advanced features that we have added has caused a little bit of problem with the super block paying out. I'm kind of surprised that this topic has been being brought up again by individuals I know I've specifically talked to about already in these chats. So I do want to kind of ask for a little bit more clarity on these questions and what direction that you're aiming them at, because I know that we've specifically talked about these, and I'm just a little bit confused on what the target of this question is. I mean, DAO DAO proposals could be like, I guess, I mean, looked at in that way. Like you could put a proposal as like saying, here's my 100,000 PAC that I need to post up for my proposal, and I'm proposing that we make this change in the code. If that's what you're asking, is that what you're asking? The same thing that, well, first off, that doesn't guarantee anything. I'll just come out and say that right there. That doesn't guarantee anything because that's not how the proposal system works. It's specifically for supply of PAC, which can be used to do something. Another way of you saying that, or someone being able to pull off what you're saying right there, of like someone makes a proposal to, they want to make a change in the network, et cetera. They, I guess, are asking for funds to do this. So that's what the PAC's being used for, I would assume. Either way, doesn't really matter. Wouldn't be my business, not my proposal. But the same thing holds true, whether it's us pushing an update or someone else that is proposing an update. You still need majority consensus. I've already seen that brought up multiple times. I've seen these live streams literally taking my words that I speak live and twisting them again still, continually saying that majority consensus is not needed, blah, blah, blah. The LOC now has grown. What I've seen is now it's being said that there's over 60% of the nodes are in the LLC's control, which is completely fabricated and false, as I mentioned before, and I'll state it again because I'm not going to go over that anymore past this. The proposals in the past that have been funded by the network, those coins were sent into directly my wallet because I manage these proposals. I funded the proposal fees. I listed the proposals, I wrote them, and in the event of them being approved, those coins would be directly sent out to the wallet address that I had listed. Due to the fact that the proposal system was not paying out, even though proposals were being accepted on the network, we as an LLC, as an organization that is working towards improving a PAC protocols network, a decentralized network, we push updates that are available for all node owners to update if they choose to. It doesn't change the rules that we still need majority of that to happen. So going back to the initial super block payout that didn't occur, for that to be pushed and approved, we still needed majority of masternodes to approve it, which did occur. The reason being is because they have already been approving all of these proposals. There would be no reason to assume that a network that has been approving proposals for 8, 9, 10 months in a row, and then knowing that they're not getting that payout, is now all of a sudden going to say no while all that time period, the same team organization has been providing use of, all the things that have been brought to the table from PAC Global Holdings LLC. We continue to work. And I'm super appreciative that the network has been approving what we've done, being our support system and allowing us to continue doing what we're doing. And it's just going to continue to get better. That goes in line with the Masternode network growing. We can see that going on, not only what we decide to do as an LLC from the coins that we acquire from Superblock payouts. We have been openly stated that these coins are to go directly towards Masternodes, and that's where they have been and continue to be. And we're also appreciative of the fact that the community outweighs us 3-to-1 in the amount of nodes that are owned by the owners of the LLC. I will be specific on that too, because I've seen that being taken out of context. The LLC does not have any direct pool wallet of masternodes that the LLC controls based off of a vote. Any coins that have been rewarded from the Superblock have been directly sent out from me. Again, I'm the one that receives those from the proposal because I manage them, and I send them out to the owners separately to manage and to hold on their own accord because of what has had to happen and had to go into building up PAC protocol, the products, etc. Everyone's individual contribution, it adds up, guys. And that's why we've been so appreciative that the Masternode network has approved us. The full owners have approved us. When consensus was needed to push updates, that's always been met. And I think it's safe to say that over 2017, 2018 to 2022, PAC is a very, very stable network at this point. It's been consistent growth, and that's something that a lot of people should be happy about being a part of a network like that. Yeah, I am aware of that too, Matt. I do think it is if it's done the right way, it's like a really cool thing to be a part of, I would assume. But in my opinion, and as we have to be responsible for us as a business and an organization, being a private one, that is as well, that if we are to associate ourselves with products that we are touting, representing, etc., obviously, we live off the rule that blockchain is decentralized and updates need to be met, like we just said, with majority consensus. But that doesn't mean that our updates that we push need to be met with majority consensus before it even gets pushed. That means if we push something that people don't like, we're going to know about it. But I think we've also done very well at keeping people, at least I've been trying to do that, keeping people updated with all the things that we are trying to do. And so when those updates do finally get to fruition and get pushed, I think we've already had enough time as just decentralized individuals to at least express our concerns or thoughts or input, etc. And sometimes, actually most of the time in our updates, a lot of the concerns, etc., that we hear are, maybe this can be better, or maybe do it, why not try it this way? And at the end of the day, it's a lot easier to say, why not do it this way, without actually, getting your hands dirty and doing it. It's one of my pet peeves of my example of this is you have someone, building something for you and you don't know how to build it, but you're just standing there watching them build, and everything that they're doing, you're saying, why are you doing it that way? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Like, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But it's very difficult to constantly be reflecting on if you're doing something the way it needs to be done all the time and not putting your full attention and doing it the way that you already know how to. Not saying anyone's wrong, not saying anyone's opinions should not be heard, but it's also just a matter of us being able to focus and do what we're saying that we want to do. And then probably, most likely, and it has happened actually a lot of times, the input that we get from the community, whether it's features in an update or ways to, in the past, in 2019, ways to fix the transaction fee attacks that were spamming on our network, that all that input came from our community coming together and coming up with solutions at that time, and that has never changed. It just maybe is presented in a different way, but that's why we're here on these discussions now, is I want everyone to have those opportunities to give those updates so that to give the input on updates. That way I have more brain power to go off of, which is you guys. And a lot of the ideas that you guys have are probably going to be better than what I can come up with on my own. What our team can come up with when we're, collaborating our minds together. There's a lot of smart individuals out, in the blockchain industry, and I'm, appreciative that our community has a lot of them already. Hey Drew, what are your expectations about the amount of running masternodes when you need more storage on the servers, which means you need to pay more for a server? Do you think the masternode amount will decrease? Oh, so you're saying in the event that you need to upgrade your server, so you have to pay more, like your out-of-pocket cost for your monthly server, and that is going to stop you from keeping that server. That would come at a personal choice. I can't really speak on that because there's two tickets to that. You have the Masternode rewards that, based on how you value them, whether you're basing it off of current value, future value, value in the whatever, that's your own predicament there. And secondly, it's how you view your participation to a decentralized growth, the decentralized growth of this network. So that's definitely your personal opinion on if I need to upgrade my server. Do I want to? Do I want to provide these resources for the network? And then also, that's a main reason why we're designing yanDNA and IPFS software the way that we are, so that it's not a core download. Because this is just like the first product, is all I'm going to say. Is like I have so many plans and all the different things that we want to do together with our partners, etc. The future, we want everything to be choice based. So different software, different installation packages that are going to be attached to different use cases in the future. And maybe even more just IPFS related, but different size packages for downloads. Those are all your choice. You have your Masternode server that you're running for a Masternode, and you have the option to install something else on top to donate or to give more resources to the network. But that's your decision. And again, yanDNA, IPFS, etc. If you look at it, you don't need a PAC Masternode to participate. That's just one of the beauties of like already having a PAC Masternode and contributing to a decentralized architectural structure, is that you now have a server that if you want to, you can also give resources to IPFS. So it's all going to be choice based. And also, that first factor I mentioned about the price of PAC and your rewards that you're getting, let alone you didn't forgot to mention Yan token that's planned, not going to be released for rewards for those that are running a Masternode. So based on your value of your participation and also the value of what you perceive those tokens and coins, that's up to you in your own opinion. But in my opinion, no, I don't think the Masternode total would decrease, because it wouldn't really make sense for there to be a use case provided that's now other than just PAC transactions. And now the Masternode owners have the ability to grow this massive, potentially massive decentralized database for storage and bring more value to the network by doing so, and then choose not to do so. In my opinion, I think majority of Masternode owners would choose to benefit from supporting a new use case that can bring a lot more potential to the PAC protocol network. And again, there's going to be other things as well that come up in the future that will give you more things to ponder about when you make that decision of, do I want to support this? Do I want to support that? At the very least, a PAC Masternode is pretty easy to accomplish as far as server requirements go. I see one other question unless I missed one, but I'm sorry. But I see, has a marketing campaign been successful in New York and London? Is there an evaluation? The campaign is not considered over. We have other things being ramped up, very similar in nature of what has already been accomplished. So unfortunately, due to, again, different COVID variants that are popping up in different parts of the world, local restrictions are being applied for certain events. So some events that we were planned to be a part of has significantly decreased the amount of foot traffic and just overall, bang for your buck, I guess I should say, versus what it probably was before restrictions were in place. So it obviously changes our, tactics of what we want to do. But we already have, like I've mentioned in these streams, many things planned up for these things. It's just when they are announced, it'll be done through our official ways of communicating to you guys instead of me live stream, because we got to stay organized. I cannot give you the amount of accounts at this moment because I don't have the statistic in front of me. But the last statistic that I did see about yanDNA for beta and what I was most interested in, and also came up in some pretty important discussions on our business side, was the amount of storage that has been accumulated within yanDNA because of the free 5 gigabytes that we've offered for beta users. And the last metric I believe that we were at was around like I think it was 2 terabytes of data. 2 terabytes of data, which, I mean, it doesn't really give an exact amount of accounts because there's not like a huge, I guess, tactic to stop someone from opening multiple accounts with multiple emails. So our amount of users versus, people that may have done that, I don't know. I don't have that statistic in front of me. But the amount of storage, it's growing. So it's come up in our conversations quite a bit when we start showing like the capabilities of it and how easy it is for people to use. But it's also cool for us to gauge on our side for just, okay, how do we just make sure the storage plans and et cetera fit with what's going to be offered and what's being used. And so far so good on our side. But again, just to be clear again, I don't have both of those statistics right in front of my face at this moment. So my numbers could very well be off, but it wouldn't be by much. Yeah, I mean, that's just, I mean, I don't know if it would be, let me reread the question. I keep forgetting to do that. I've seen it mentioned in the past that in future there'll be an API for yanDNA/yan network that developers can use to build things on top of that product/network. Is that planned for after beta? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely planned for after like beta is complete, because that's priority one right now, is for yanDNA to come to full, full product. But yeah, that's definitely in our list of things to do so that developers can use the Yan network for their backend needs. But it also has to tie into them having enough Yan token to qualify for the amount of data storage that their product or solution may require. In the event that they do not want to be doing that, they could be met. There's going to be other things. I actually can't go into that right now, but they could contact us directly as a provider, or there will be other ways as the community can become a provider for different, solutions. That's why I mentioned that, different software installations will be available as time goes on, because if you think of yanDNA right now, it's beta, it's closed, so there's nothing for you guys to download to contribute resources to it. It's being fully maintained by individual nodes owned by owners of the LLC. In the event that the IPFS software is now available for decentralized installation amongst you, the people, whether on top of Masternode servers or on your own servers that you want to dedicate resources just because you want to, kudos if you do that. That's going to be the way that that product can grow, yanDNA. So in the same event, a product is built by a developer that wants to use the Yan network to grow their product. That will be probably most likely a separate installation offered in that event, so that the Yan network contributors, the Masternode owners, both two in the same, they now have the option as well to contribute storage to that product and to grow that one specifically. That might have a lot to do with, hint, hint, the token layer that we've been mentioning, of how people can start their own project and have their own supply and maybe get their own supporters among the PAC network and those that have servers that what they would want to contribute to. But that's up to them. That's going to be the beauty of that project, that there's going to be that availability. Are you a PlayStation or Xbox guy? I can't tell you the last time I played on a console, but I can tell you that this headset is the PS5 headset, because my wife plays the PlayStation. I don't really have time for that, but if I do, I'm a PC guy, which is Microsoft, Xbox, etc. Whatever gaming app stuff. So probably, I guess, just PC is my answer, because I can't really name a bunch of Xbox games that really pop out other than Halo, and everything else is cross-platform. But that has nothing to do with that. But I appreciate the question. My answer would be PC, cross-compatible, cross-platform, whatever. I don't really like the fact that some certain games, I guess, on PlayStation and Xbox, You have to be specifically on that console. But PC is my thing. And the headset, just because I love this headset. It's my favorite headset I've ever had. Yes, yes. Is PAC team working on adding to Ledger? Yes, we are. That's going to be one of the things to be expected. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I can't wait to learn more about the token layer whenever the team can disclose more info. Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun. Especially, I'm looking forward to the opportunity where we can release it to with the sport that people can make their own tokens, their own projects, and their own supplies and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to that part, just to see the amount of different projects start popping up on the network. But I'm also just super excited to see Yan Token finally, active live on the network. I can't stress enough how cool I think it is that we are all going to have access. Like, not just us. Like, we have to understand this. Like, it's not just people that already know about PAC. And I'm not sitting here saying everyone's job is to make sure everyone in the world knows about this opportunity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But in my opinion, just being in this industry for as long as I have, learning as long as I go, I learn new things every single day in this industry. It seems that way. That I still cannot believe that we're about to be launching a 22,000 plus full node supported network update that allows people to build their own projects, have their own token supply, et cetera, ready to go already with 22,000 active nodes supporting that network. That staple right there, I can't stress how cool that is, how major of a milestone that is. I can't even call that a milestone. That's like an achievement that I don't think the majority of networks have even come close to achieving, as far as how much support of full nodes are there and you can build on top of that network. It's a huge thing that advocates towards is PAC a security. Well, I'm not speaking on law on this, but in my opinion, just as looking at any network as I would look at Ethereum or just vice versa, if I see a network that is capable of, I don't even need to use that currency or the native token or native coin PAC. There's all these other projects that are also associated on that network that I can be a part of without PAC involved, because it's a different project. They have their own use cases, their own token supply, their own blah, blah, blah. I can be grateful that PAC Protocol and the Masternode network is providing the resources and making sure that this network's up and running, because that's being done by decentralized individuals, not just the owners of the LLC. If those nodes, obviously not saying this ever freaking happens. So, like, I'm just saying how cool it is that if these nodes were to go offline, you still have 16, 15,000 nodes that are decentrally active, because of, all these people that are deciding to do that. And you have all these projects that are automatically backed up by that. It's a really cool moment. It will be a really cool moment for us. I'm really excited for that. It's probably I think you can tell. I'm super excited about that. The question, what is the amount of masternodes you think you need to become a strong enough network for things you were planning to do? I think we're already strong enough. The only thing that changes, obviously, is usage. So with more usage becomes more blockchain history to report and keep track of. So, and also, every single time a masternode is created, that's more information and data that's being stored on the chain. So as the network grows, the masternode totals grows, that's more data that needs to be recorded. And as more transactions occur on the PAC network, that's more information that needs to be recorded. And it needs to all be recorded in a masternode if it's a true full ledger, right? So as usage grows, the only thing that's going to need to be maintained is making sure that people are providing the proper requirements, resource requirements for their masternode to be performing their duty. Other than that, as long as you're staying under your threshold of what your capabilities are as a network at that current time, you're already going to have all the benefits that it has to offer. But again, as usage goes, server requirements will go up. That's just an inevitable thing about usage on a network and having full history reporting. But there's also different development implementations that we can do that we've already discussed, to allow just even greater widespread amount of masternodes, if that, is there a need for that, to lower costs for servers. One thing I'll hint on that is, I mean, lower costs for servers we can obviously control, but I mean the requirements or the availability of specific servers. Speaking of like IPv6 servers versus IPv4, incredibly cheaper. But it's also just a hurdle to get over to implement to allow people to use IPv6 instead of IPv4. or to allow both at the same time on the same network and not have any issues. That's just a hurdle that's like a one that we are definitely focused on, like we want to do, but I don't have any time frame for that. It's just one of those, solutions we have for those things, for server requirement boosts, etc. But also not wanting to have it to where people have to break the bank in the event that servers are, needed to go up crazy. But there's also a benefit to that as well, that if there's, actual usage that is requiring server upgrades to be happening, whether it be demand of a product or demand of the PAC, I guess, asset, that would come with its own benefits, I would assume, considering, whether or not you look at it at monetary ways. Drew, is it possible to launch Masternodes via PACapp in the future? Will this simplify the process and attract new users? Is it possible? Yes, absolutely. Are we focused on it? Yes, absolutely. Do we have plans? Do we know how to do it? Yes. Do we have plans of an exact date for that to be released? No. But that's something that we have thought about as well, so that people can load up a balance in their PAC app, have the same available 1-2 click step that yanSafe has to offer, and be able to maintain your node directly from your phone. Get notifications from your rewards, let you know if you have any maintenance required, any updates that are now made available, and give you a push notification. We obviously want to add that because it just makes it a little easier for people that, hey, they got their PAC app, they got their PAC tag, they can using the third-party APIs that yanSafe has to offer, such as Hetzner and Vultr, and more to come, most likely, possibly. Do all that from your phone, because you don't need to have your PC running 24/7 if you're using a third-party server. So same thing for the PAC app, theoretically. So yes, it's definitely in the plans and something that we want to do and will do eventually. And I think it'd be really cool that, you get your rewards directly to your PAC app, which you can do already, by the way. Those that know how to set your reward address, we do have a instruction manual for that if you want to look that up. But you could theoretically have it to where your master node is obviously like maybe on your PC using yanSafe, and using a third-party server. You could set, when you're setting up your Masternode, that your reward address is a different wallet, and theoretically could be the PACapp wallet. So it is already possible that your PACapp wallet could directly be receiving the rewards from a Masternode, but it would be really cool that it's also associated like directly to the Masternode. Yeah, Matt, there's actually a lot of really cool things that could eventually be done with Masternodes if viewed the right way or accumulated enough by the right, just however it wants to be set up, business speaking wise, on that stuff. But with masternodes, even just at this point now, you can have the reward address be whatever you want, not just you can set it to whatever address you want. And then also you can give percentages of that reward to an operator address. So it's pretty cool, the availability that there is. Well, guys, I do have to cut this short because I did have something come up, a little bit of emergency on my side. Nothing PAC related, just family emergency. But I do appreciate the time, and I will plan to be here again Wednesday. I'm going to go every other day, same time. So again, I appreciate you guys being here, and I'll look forward to our next live chat. Have a good one, guys.